What's up, everybody? How's it going? Hopefully you're doing all right today. We should be able to finish by then, I think, Alias. If not, you can catch the rest of the stream later at some point, for sure. But I think we should be able to get there. Get our model open real quick, shall we? Yo, yo, yo. Nice, good to hear, good to hear. We are very close to the end of the semester, everybody. Which is pretty crazy. It's flown by, to be honest with you. It has completely flown by. I was not expecting it to go this quick. Hi, how's it going? Good to see you. We don't have too much left to finish on our model, to be honest with you. Yeah, summer semesters are awesome for that reason. That's true. They go very quickly. And they're pretty chill, for the most part, I feel like. Which can be nice. Where's our stuff? Right here. All right, here is our dude. Yeah, we really don't have a ton left to complete here to make this a complete finished human. I do want to clean up the geometry around the neck a little bit here, as well as here. Clean up the face a little bit. I mean, not clean it up, finish the face in general, right? I would like to finish the nose, get the eyelids in there, put some eyeballs in. So we'll work on that a little bit today. We'll probably do the ear as well. And then next week, that will give me a whole lecture time to demo clothing and stuff, which I think would be super helpful. So I think we'll just jump right into it. I mean, in all reality, like I said, there are a couple things I want to clean up here. Like, I'd like to clean up how this functions. I don't love the way this topology is routed. So we could take a look at this a little bit. See if we can figure out a better way for this to work. that a little bit better. Almost like for this thing to collapse all the way around. But and I'd also like for there to be almost like, yeah, we'll take a look at it though. Let's not get too hung up on that yet. Let's get our nose in. I smell funny. You guys, that's my wife that's in the chat telling me I stink. So you guys can harass her a little bit if you want. For the in-class, if my reference has clothes, do I need to add clothes? For me, it's overalls and shoes. For the in-class, no. Not for your in-class. For your out-of-class model, yes. Since this is our last check-in, will there be an opportunity next week to get feedback before submitting both models? Yes. If you'd like to shoot me a couple screenshots of your model in Discord, I can give you a little bit of feedback, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely possible. If that is something you would like for me to do, we can make that happen. Okay. So let's take a look at the face here, right? We need to get the nose sculpted in. We also need to take a look at the eyes here. So I think the first step would be let's take a look at the eyes, because it's kind of it's a little bit easier, I think, as far as steps go. So what I'd like to do is take a sphere. So if I drop in a sphere like this, right? And I pull the sphere up, rotate it 90. I tend to like to use the sphere in this configuration where it's sort of rotated 90 degrees towards the camera, so that I can use the triangles up here as sort of a reference of the middle of the eye and the iris, right? So if I turn that sphere and then I scale it down and drop it back in the face like this, right? Then I have a reference of sorts to use for my eyeball, and I can kind of get this settled in the spot where I feel like that eye should sit, and then I can start using more geometry around the eye to build the eyelid, okay? So if I jump back to my front view here, where we've modeled, right? And we jump back into our X-ray view of our front view, right? We can kind of see where we need to place that stuff, right? So I'm going to try to place this eye right where I feel like it should sit. Then I can always check it to my overall shape of my skull, right? My face. Okay. So the next step would be to build out some eyelids, and this can be a little bit tricky, but there is, you know, a method to this and a way that we can make this work properly. So what I tend to do is take this edge here and extrude this, the edge that sits around the eye, and I'll bring this out, okay, and I'll scale it down, and then I'll kind of push it back in, and then I'll just kind of start working with that as my eyelid. And then in the past, what I've done as well for these sorts of things is I've welded this vertice to this one and almost made a couple triangles here, which is not a huge problem, I don't feel like. But I kind of wait in that process to do that until completely necessary. But I don't like to have this super hard edge right here, so I'll take this extrusion once I have that done, and I'll extrude again, and I'll kind of bring that in to the eyeball itself and like push this back so that I have, you know, some geometry here sitting over the eye, and then we can talk about kind of how to make this look and feel a little bit better. But before we start doing that process, I'm just going to start pulling the eyelid sort of around the eyeball, right? Getting this to sit flush, cover the eyeball. Now that we have that sort of round shape in there, we get a better idea of how the eye socket sort of sits in this spot. So we can adjust and pull these around the eyeball. I think I may have an extra extrusion sitting there, so what I'm going to do is do this real fast. It's Control Z because I might have forgot to undo that extrusion. Yeah, I did. So let's take my vertex here, do an edit mesh merge, which is fine. Some of you may have experienced that in the past. I just forgot to undo that extrusion after I was kind of showing you what to do there. But now, same thing. I'm just going to come through here, adjust this eyelid sort of over the eyeball here. So as I'm adjusting, right, I'm just trying to cover. I don't want to completely destroy what I had built as far as the shape goes for the eye, right? But once I kind of get this eyeball encased a little bit in this shape, I can always bring some of these things back. All right, I really am just trying to get the eyeball shape formed and this eye socket shape formed. So let's go in here. And then, like I said, once you have that kind of shaped around there, then you can do your best to either adjust the eye to where you think it needs to sit, right? And then you can come through here and do your extrusion and pull it back towards the head. So if we take that extrusion, now that we've adjusted this, we can bring that extrusion back into the head here, right? And you can just pull it all the way back into this face. You could also flatten it out by scaling it down. All we need to do is make sure that we cover that hole. We don't want a gaping hole in the side of our eye, right? And then the next thing that's worth checking all the time is your smooth mode, right? So as you're starting to shape that eyelid around the eye, just double check that smooth mode and make sure that what you're doing is making sense. So if you need to add another edge loop in here to get the correct folds where that eyelid sits, see, that's pretty flush right now and looks a little creepy. So what we need to do is get some more edge loops in here to get a better sort of fold over the eyelid. and get that correct shape happening, right? Because remember that your eyelid, if you're looking at like a character here, right? Your eyelid has kind of a bit of fat, like a fat deposit above it, right below your eyebrow, and it really creases right along that spot, right in this area right here. So if we need to add more edge loops to take care of that and make that look better, we can. And then we always have the option of doing, you know, like a bevel along this eyelid to help get a little bit better shape on it too. And that can kind of help you bring some more geometry and shape into your eyelid. But again, just remember to check that check your smooth mode, right? And if needed, you can work in smooth mode too, just to kind of help you get what you're looking for. Like if you don't feel like you're achieving what you're trying to get outside of smooth mode, then you can always take a look here. But remember that the more drastic a move you make here, just remember that it's going to cause, you know, a pretty big shift in what it looks like in your unsmooth mode, right? But that eyelid's not looking too bad. However, like I said in the past, I tend to like to create a little bit of a triangle in here and weld some things. Or I'll take this, you know, loop and try to pull this back as far as I can to kind of simulate that fold there, or where that opening in your eye, right? As much as possible. That's not looking too bad.
Check it out.
I don't hate how that looks. There's a little bit of interestingness happening over here that I could try to smooth out a little bit. Since I've only been working on one side, I'm gonna do another mirror on this. I'm just trying to make this look as good as I can for the moment. And it's gonna look weird, especially with the mouth, right? Nope, we have one more week of class. So, one more week. I believe. Right? I'm pretty sure classes end on the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so summer term. Let's see here. Yeah. So semester length classes for summer 2022, if you check the schedule here, our last day is Wednesday, August 3rd. So we'll have one more class next week, next Wednesday. Right? And then your final exams are on the 4th and the 5th. So we have our last day, the 3rd, and then you've got finals on the 4th and 5th. And then for fall semester, it's pretty quick right after that. I believe classes start the 22nd of August. So you get a couple weeks in between that. Couple week break, and then summer semester starts. Or fall. Sorry. So our character has a pretty flat face, so I'm just going to go through and try to give him some facial structure now, right? If you look on this side, he doesn't really have a cheekbone or anything like that, so I'm going to go here through here and just try to give him a little bit more shape in his face here. Yeah, that side of his face is starting to look a lot better. We do need to get a nose in here too, so I want to delete half of this guy real fast again. And then I would like to take a look at some things over here. Just kind of finalizing shape of things overall. There are definitely some pieces that could get shifted around a bit here and adjusted. Finals due on August 12th. Yes. So that's if you have like finals. That's a good question. That's if you have like final exams. Those, they should be held on those days. For my class, you can have your stuff turned into me by the 12th, because if you look at summer semester here. So if we go to summer 2022, you can see that my grades, where are we at here? You can see that grades are due. Where is that at? My grades are due the 15th. So, that's the day I have to have them into the registrar's office. So what I like to do is give you guys as much time as possible to finish your stuff. And then I'll take a couple days with the TAs to finalize all your grades. Okay. So that's how that will work. There's some more stuff on the neck of this character that I'd like to adjust because it feels really thin. So we'll come back to his neck here in a little bit and adjust some stuff to make things feel a little bit better through here. Okay. But first, I am going to delete half this guy. So I'm going to go to my front view. Oh, make sure I don't have Object X on. Make sure I've got all my stuff selected. All the way around. Looks good. I can delete. I can do another mirror here. Bounding box. Okay. Q. Oh, let's take a look here. Mesh mirror. Bounding box. 1. Okay, let's do 0.1. That's fine. Okay. All right, so now those eyes should be in a good spot. What I can do too now is I can mirror these eyeballs too, just straight across in the world. And then just hit Q, so now I have the eyes sitting in the right spots. So now we've got our eyes in there. Our face is feeling a lot more clean and realistic. outside of a few things. Like we've got some structure. We definitely need a better nose, or a nose in general. We don't want to make Krillin today, so let's go ahead here. We're going to do some extrusions. So I'm going to take these faces here. Actually, I'm just going to take these faces here. And I'm going to extrude and pull this out once. Just kind of check my side view here. Just kind of get a length where that needs to kind of sit. Something along that line. And then there is a little bit of weirdness here, right? We've got some weird faces happening, but we can come back through with our relax tool and relax some of this, right? Use this vertice or these edges as sort of the bridge of the nose here. Kind of bring our stuff back down. I want to make sure I do that evenly, so I'm going to turn back on my Object X. Can do that same quad draw here. Then bring that edge in. Okay. And we'll do the same thing across both these sides. We'll bring these edges in. Right? If we need to, we can bring these vertices back. Why is that behaving so funny? Oh, okay, here's what I need to do. Mesh display, harden edge. That's why it's being funny. Now it should act a little bit better. And we're just going to bring these faces back a little bit. And this is going to be the start to our nose, right? We may end up with some triangles around here, but that's okay. But even so, that nose is starting to look even better than what we had, right? We definitely need to adjust some shaping here. And we can clean up some vertices if needed by either cutting in a vertex here, right? I don't mind if there's triangles right there, if it helps the overall shape there. So we can come back and take a look at that too, though. And if needed, we could do some welding to make this a little bit better through here if necessary. So we'll figure it out, but let's just get it shaped for right now. In the past, I've done this as well, where I can take these two edges out, but then I could maybe, or I could even keep those there, and I could come through with a multi-cut tool and cut through the nose like this to just give myself some more geometry around the nose. And then I could adjust this a little bit to clean this up, but what key do I hold to flex? I'm not sure what you mean. Flex. There's also the opportunity to like cut in the edge loop into the head somewhere here. And do something like this to like offset where that is at. And then that can kind of be hidden behind the hair, which is nice. Because we still have this weirdness happening here. That kind of cleans that up a little bit. This makes for a cleaner face shape. It doesn't hurt the forehead too bad, right? Oh, relax. Yes, quad draw. So if you click quad draw, right, and then hold shift, that will relax that area for you. Sorry, I missed what you were asking me. Again, we could go through and adjust all those verts to make those look a little bit better. And so just to give you guys a little bit of insight, right? There's a little bit of method to the madness here. And the reason why I say that is we've added several edge loops to try to keep some round spaces through here, okay? And I'll show you why. So if somebody were to come in here and start rigging our character, right? And we had really messy geometry and we couldn't get certain areas to loop select around like this. These are called animation groups, okay? And I haven't really talked about them a whole lot. But what's happening here is we've got, and they're not perfect. We could do a little bit more to clean up some of these, but I've kept this in mind while we're working, right? Now you can see if somebody were to come in here and take our character and try to give him some animations, you can see that, you know, whoa, we can change his expression pretty drastically really quickly, right? Because he has the nice edge flow through here. And our animation groups are working properly along his face. So this is a good thing. Okay, the nose is feeling pretty good. I just want to get the kind of bulb portions on here of the nose. So I'm going to turn off my soft select. I'm gonna extrude these out, shrink them. Oh no, not like that. I'll shrink those down. I may end up adding another one in there. We'll see. We'll push these back a little bit towards the face. We can take this vertex and pull this out. To make that attachment a little bit more visible, we can then take this vertex, try to help round out these portions a little bit better. Right? What we're trying to do is just get that nose shape kind of finalized. But that's starting to feel more like a nose, right? Is the idea. And if we need to add another edge loop around here, we can, right? Which is nice. I could throw another one around there to get more definition through there. If needed. I really can try to round these out. The other thing to keep in mind too is that we've got the bottom of the nose here. And we are going to have to put some nostrils in, so we need to kind of take that into account as we're building some of these areas. Depending on what happens too, in the past, I've done this as well to really kind of solidify the overall shape of the nose. Like I've taken this and kind of flattened this out. I'm just showing you there's a couple different steps and processes you can follow here. So we could do this, and then I could take these faces here and extrude these. To get the tip of the nose. And then you end up with something like this. Granted, you know, I don't want it to be so square, but I end up with, you know, a nicer shape through there. And I could do the same thing where I can add more geometry to the end of the nose if I want, or less, depending on what shape I'm trying to achieve, right? So now I'm turning my symmetry back on. Again, kind of shaping out the nose here. We may not want something so square in there. You know, and then depending on the character you're working on, noses aren't universal, right? So if your character's nose looks different from mine, that's okay. They're not a one size fits all feature to every human that you've ever seen, right? Everybody's got a different nose, so. This starts to turn more into like Skyrim character creator as you get into this kind of stuff, right? And then the last kind of adjustment to make inside of the nose here really is to build in some nostrils. Even that still feels a little bit harsh through there, so I might come through just a little bit. Adjust the bridge of your nose too. Okay. So we built in a pretty good nose in here. Next step, like I said, is to come in here and add some nostrils. And I'm going to do that by doing some extrusions, okay? So I'm going to grab these two areas. I'm going to turn off my soft select. I think I can do this with symmetry on. Let's see. Nope. Yeah, that's good. Okay. You know, I'm just going to bring these directly. So actually what I'll do is I'll make kind of a lip here, and then I'll do another extrusion and then pull these up into the nose and heavily shrink these down. Kind of bring them in towards the nose here. Bring this up in. And I'll just kind of bring them directly up into the nostril, or into the nose, right? And then we can use that to help shape the nostril holes too. Because we took that edge, so now we can kind of use that as our bevel. And it's always worth double checking through here. Getting idea of how that looks in real life, so you could always go ahead and check references. It's weird. This shape is kind of weird, so if you look at like nostrils, it's worth grabbing some references for nostrils, because they're not like perfectly round holes, right? Some people's, that's the interesting thing too, is that some people's nose, everybody's nose is going to be different, right? So you can kind of take a look at just different angles of people's, use that to help you get an idea of how you want to shape these. Sorry, I heard a weird noise out my window. It was just the garbage trucks. We're good. So I don't love how those feel. I might come through here and, if necessary, you could even add some edge loops inside of there to kind of help you shape it further. It's kind of weird to just sit here and look up people's noses, but you know, when you 3D model, this is the stuff you get into. Just seeing if things make sense overall. Because the problem is in 3D modeling, if you hit that uncanny valley and something is looking funny and weird, people will notice really quickly. Something's off and just doesn't look right in a model. That's feeling okay, but I feel like I want the overall nose in general to just come down a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and bring all of this. I'll grab my soft select. I'm just going to try to select all of the nose in here, if I can. Just get everything around here selected and hit soft select. Make sure I don't have anything random selected. Oh. Just gonna bring the nose down a little bit here. That feels better now. Which also makes me want to kind of bring the eyes in a little bit too. Although it feels okay. Let's see. They feel a little far apart. So I may take everything I can here and just bring these in a little bit. Just gonna jack up my nose just a hair, but that's okay. have to readjust where those eyes are at. That's fine. Just move it over. I can do the same thing, mesh mirror this again. That is definitely feeling better. There are a few things here I'd like to adjust. The mouth is also a little big, so I might take the whole face here. Let's try to grab everything in here. And this is what's kind of nice about those groups that we made. Is that we can take things like this with the mouth, and I can just scale this in. Oops. Just kind of shrink this down. Oh, I don't want to have those faces back there selected though. Try to do this again real quick. Just trying to get this adjusted to be a little bit more face shape. Here we go. That's a little better. Okay. Now I'm just trying to close the lips and get that overall bottom lip shape too. This is kind of the last final steps. Once you've sort of built that face shape out, you can go through and do all these kind of final tweakings, right? And just for reference sake, we didn't build this mouth in a sense that we built like teeth and all these other things in there. We kind of left it just a closed mouth, which is okay for building like a sculpture, right? But if this were going to be animated, fully animated and placed into a game, then we might think about deleting some things out, putting teeth in, but in this semester, we just didn't have time to do something like that, so we left it out for right now, which is okay. So we're just going around making final adjustments to the overall topology, right? Just trying to smooth out some of these areas that are a little less refined through here, if we can. So I'm just using the relax tool a little bit here. So as we check our smooth mode, right? I'm looking for anywhere in that smooth mode where I've got weird creases happening. You know, something like this in this area could be a little bit of an issue, so we could come through here and adjust. There's another step here that we can take to get the sort of indentation above the lip here, where we could go about doing an extrusion. So we can do something like this. The only problem when doing so, though, I mean, we do keep our groups relatively okay, our animation groups. So we can turn symmetry back on. We got a better indentation there in the lip. Okay. So our face is looking pretty good. The next thing to think about would be adding some ears in. I do want to take a look at the neck a little bit here and just kind of adjust based on our reference a little bit. Maybe even take some of our points here on the head and just kind of adjust too. But you know, with our character, how he is, feels much better to have his neck a lot wider like that, right? It's just super muscular, so. Makes sense for it to be a little wider. So just coming through here and kind of adjusting the jaw cheek area. Definitely want to adjust the jaw a little bit here because our guy, if we're following this sort of Batman character that we have here, he's got a much rounder kind of chin and jaw area. So try to just adjust that a little bit. He has a pretty high cheekbone too, so let's take a look at this. Doesn't need to be that crazy though. Let's see. It's definitely higher though than I had it, which I think is better. That face is looking lots and lots better as we continue to piece that together. As we hit smooth. Okay. This is another one of those spots that you could continually tweak for a really long time. What might happen is we've done a lot with the face, so maybe we'll just attach the ears next week. But let's take a look here at the neck a little bit too and just see if we can make this look as good as possible. So I know we need to take these, kind of do something along the lines of this here. Again, it's another one of those things where it's good to check a reference neck muscle reference. like to kind of look at somebody from the front. This one is a lot more in depth than ours, but we can take a look kind of at something like that to help us. Now I'm kind of just going through and sculpting in smooth mode. I know that if I go back into this, it's going to be a little bit detrimental, but we are going to hit smooth here in a minute. So I'm going to take this and try to shape and make this look nice in that smooth mode. Just try to sculpt a little bit here if I can. Yes. Not project. There is a way to cut with your multi-cut tool, so that when you're cutting, it doesn't destroy, or it's not destructive, right? So what you can do is do your multi-cut in smooth mode, or not smooth mode. Sorry, in. Let me gather my thoughts for a second. You can do your multi-cut in object X. So like if you have your symmetry tool on, right? You can cut through an object like this and see how it projects it to both sides, right? So I'm cutting on one side, but because I have object X on, I can cut through both sides, right? Okay. I'm gonna come down here and slim our boy up a little bit because he seems to have gotten a little wider from all the duplicating we've done. I'm just gonna try to slim him back down a little bit here. All right. I'd say I'm trying to think if what I want to do here. I'd say this is a good stopping point as far as this model goes, outside of adding the ears. So for today, do I want to call it here? And then we can do the ears next week. Ears and close. It's probably not a bad idea. Why don't we do that? Because the face is quite a bit to work on. So I don't want to throw too much at you, and we still have one more week we could work on. That we do have to work on, so let's do that. Okay. I think I'm just trying to think to myself a little bit. I'd like to just leave you with the face for right now, and finishing out the final touches on your each and every one of your own faces. And then next week we can focus on getting an ear in here. And there's a couple different ways we can go about doing it. We can use like a cylinder and squash a cylinder down and shape out an ear that way. There's a couple different ways to go about doing it. I also have an ear model that we could just pull in and use. But I wouldn't mind doing, doing a shape and building one out either. So I can show you the ear that I do have here. So if we come in here, we could just attach this one too next week, which would be fine, I think. Under files, models. I have an ear that I could bring in. That looks something like this. So we could definitely use this one too, and it would be fine. However we want to go about doing that. It's not my favorite ear model on the planet, but it's okay. So we could do something like that and get that ear placed in, because they look okay on there. And we'd have a pretty complete human, which would be good. Okay. So we'll focus on that next week, okay? For this week and for your check-in, since this is your last check-in before you turn in your final, you'll just get your face done, okay? And then for the final, obviously you'll turn it all in with the ear and everything attached. So with that being said, I will let you guys boogie out. Let's do the attendance question though. So notepad, let's see here. Your attendance answer for today. let's do... There you go. That's your answer. Since we're coming up on the end of it. Okay. That's what you'll throw in your text entry for today for your attendance. Sound good? All right. I'm gonna let you guys go. If you've got any questions, I'm gonna make sure I save. So let's do an edit, delete all by type history real quick. Edit, delete all by type history, file, save scene as. Let's save it as number 10 or whatever this is. I gotta reopen that because it always jacks up my Maya once I do this. Once my Maya wakes back up, just give it a second. Sorry. There we go. Let's call this torso 11. Okay, that's saved. I will see you guys next week for our last class. If you're running into issues or need help, let us know. TAs and I should be available to give you any assistance you need, okay? I will see you guys next week, okay? Have a good one, everyone. See ya.